now, feel free to stay on camera. We're also gonna send out the recording afterwards. So don't worry if you have to leave early or if you want to distribute this with a colleague or a friend. This session is recorded and you're gonna receive the recording later today as well. Point number 2, if you have any question, I know we have a Q&A at the end, and Hannes and Stefan are more than happy to answer all of your questions. Please post your questions in the chat, right? Use the chat throughout the next minute, the next hour, really. Post anything that's on your mind, any question you might have, be it around SEO tactics, GEO tactics. I know Hannes and Stefan will also perform a live audit, which I think is really exciting, where we're going to look at some audit in real life together. So if you have any question, please use the chat. We'll come to a Q&A at the end, but Hannes and Stefan also might be able to pick it up directly if it fits into the natural context. Yeah, last but not least, also the slides and everything you see today will be sent out later today. So don't worry. Feel free to take screenshots, but you don't need to take screenshots because we're going to send out everything afterwards. With that said, I would say we're ready. I'll quickly introduce myself. I'm Thomas, the CEO here at Otterly AI, an AI search monitoring solution where we help more than 5,000 marketing and SEO professionals navigate through AI search, understand who's showing up as a brand, understand which content is being cited these days, and at the end of the day, optimize for higher visibility. I'm joined today by Stefan and Hannes, our amazing agency partners, TRYSEO. And with that said, I'll hand it over to you, Stefan and Hannes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Then, can I share the screen?
Yes, absolutely. I'll
Perfect.
stop
Thank you very much.
sharing and feel free to take it over, Stefan.
It's perfect. So I see we have almost the same slides. Yeah, welcome. So let's have a quick check on what we are doing today. So first of all, please keep your smartphones close to you because we need it in a minute. Yeah, it's one of these sessions where you can use your smartphone. Yeah, what's gonna happen? We have a quick introduction right now, but which is really short, and then we come to a case study. So we brought a study where you can see how SEO and GEO is working together. Then we do a quick audit. We got a lot of responses from the mail from Otterly with a lot of URLs who wanted to get their quick audit, and we have already chosen one. Yes, and after the quick audit, we have the Q&A discussion, and there you can ask all the questions. And I want to say we deliver diverse goodies in our how to say Vortrag in our presentation, and feel free to ask questions immediately. So you can raise your hands on Zoom, and then we try to go for them. And we follow a clear storyline, but we also can do thematic detours if it's helpful to deepening your understanding. And I want to encourage you to ask questions because we want to connect with you and give you value, of course, otherwise it makes no sense for us. Yes. That said, are there any questions already here? I see no, only interested faces. Perfect. So then we start with a quick survey. Pick out your phones, activate your QR scanner, and scan this code, please. We go here, and please, put in which job title best describes you so that we get to know each other in the audience, that we get an idea who you are here. And you have to click submit on your phone that you can, and then it will be shown here. So, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, marketing assistant, strategist, data engineer, marketing manager, executive. Yeah, that looks good. Marketing, a lot of marketing managers, specialists, e-commerce manager, SEOs. Oh yeah, interesting, interesting. Marketing, a lot of marketing. Yes, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Then we go to, let's see, yeah, to the next slide. And let's take a look what's gonna here. So I have a meme here, rising impression, decreasing clicks on your website. Who can relate? And press submit once you have that experience already, or maybe not. Yeah, we see. Okay. So like 2/3 of you experience that, or yeah, one third does not experience it. Okay. Thank you very much for that. And then we have a last question. Which area is currently your biggest visibility challenge on your website? Yeah, so pick one and then press submit. Okay, there's this is crystal clear. Okay, AI overviews, ChatGPT perplexity, ranking on Google, and then social media, local other. Okay, so thank you very much for that. Perfect. So we have a better idea of the audience and you of yourself as well. Perfect. Thank you very much. Then we slide back and yeah, introduce ourselves a little bit. So I am Stefan. I will moderate that presentation a bit. We are TRYSEO. We are a small online visibility company who help B2B businesses or B2B mid-size businesses in Germany to get more visible on in the internet. That's said short. And I am Stefan. I am the CMO and I'm looking as well for the processes. So I have a strong communication background and help or make clear that we have a professional communication at Try SEO. Yeah. So and Hannes, I brought my specialist Hannes, but you can introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Stefan, for introducing us. As you said, I'm Hannes. I am the nerd in our group, and I will, share some interesting findings from a recent project with you guys today, and also guide you through the live audit. I'd say let's jump right in. Start with the case study.
Let's do
Maybe
it.
a few words for whom this will be interesting. Especially, as Stefan mentioned, we mostly work with small to mid-sized B2B brands. So everybody who can relate here should open up their ears, um, who are operating in a tough competitive environment and also often facing, huge global players with deep pockets. And our clients mostly have not the same kind of budget. So we really need to figure out, okay, um, what should we really focus on? What really gets us results in a reasonable manner of budget? Um, the case that I want to share with you guys today is from a client called Tenios. Shout out to them at this point. They are a German telecom provider and offer all kinds of cloud-based communication services. So SMS, RCS, phone routing, numbers, etc., and also have a specialization in AI voice agents and phone agents. The status quo a couple months ago was, well, they experienced a decline in organic traffic and visibility, and we're also facing almost zero visibility across LLMs. And what I found was, some of you might relate to this as well. There were different teams working on the SEO of the site already, but it was kind of an on-off thing. There was no clear long-term strategy. Everybody was a bit disorganized, and let's put it this way, there was a lot of content on the page at least, but it was all of a huge mess. And the contract was, as you can guess, to fix that. And then they said, have fun, and left the room. So we had fun with the project. We started off, you can go to the next slide. Exactly. So what did we do? First of all, you might notice already we had to get all of our SEO foundations in place. This is also still what I recommend in this age of AI. So we had to do the usual stuff like the website audit, content audit, the keyword research, competitor analysis, to really get an idea, okay, what are we facing? Where do we want to go? And how do we get there? So based on this, we could create our action plan, meaning, okay, what do we need on new content? What content do we need to optimize? Maybe do we need to reorganize the whole site, the structure, work on the text SEO, etc., etc. I won't go into too much detail on this now because I think we want to focus more on the LLM side of things. But it's important to know that this was and still is a big part of the project and should even today never be neglected. Okay. All right. But all of this is the old school SEO. And now, obviously, the interesting question is how can we tackle the LLM optimization, or optimization for AI, geo, however you want to call it, on a limited budget? So that was the same question that I was asking myself. And yeah, you can skip ahead, Stefan. So I came up with the LLM approach on a tight budget. That's what I called it. We implemented schema markups thoroughly on the whole page. It's also an SEO best practice, often gets neglected. I don't know why. Many people are not aware that there are very different kinds of markups for almost any case. So for products, for software, for services, for organization, for FAQ, etc., etc. And this is just a technical way to feed data for crawlers, if you could say it like this.
Maybe you can post in the chat, post a 1 if you have a schema markup on your pages, post a 2 if you don't have it. Hannes.
Yeah. Just looking at the chat, but okay. Then the second thing, obviously, create content or optimize content in an AI likable way. Yeah, like integrating study statistics, comparison tables, etc., etc. We will take a closer look at that and how that looks like in practice later on in the live audit. For now, let's just leave it like this. And then the third aspect of the strategy was to, okay, as you might know, for LLMO or for Geo, also getting our brand out there and getting mentioned a lot is important. And how can we do that without having tens of thousands of dollars for big PR campaigns? So I thought, okay, since Reddit is a direct training source for ChatGPT at least, and Google in its AI overviews also likes to fall back on Quora, let's start to focus on these two social platforms. In case you might wonder how that could look like in practice, Stefan, if you go to the next slide, please. What to look for in Reddit or also Quora, it's more or less the same principle. Obviously, you want to make sure that your brand or your product is mentioned in discussions regarding your product or your category, in best of articles, listicles, in guides and tutorials, in questions from potential customers, discussions about competitors. And obviously, you may also initiate these spreads yourself. As you can see, Stefan, we have two sample screenshots on the side. Just put them in. So this would be an example of a post where someone is asking about AI voice assistants. So pretty relevant for our product in this case. And as you can see, there's a small discussion below, and we just drop in, oh, we're using Tenios, blah, blah, blah. The other screenshot, if you could show this one, this is a bit more sneaky, obviously, but you can use this as well. It's just to create your own thread, mentioning your brand in there. What I want to say here is there are tons of opportunities for you guys, and you can be really, really creative here in getting your brand mentioned in there. I've seen an interesting question in the chat. I might answer this right away. Did you create an own account for the company in Reddit? No. What we'd like to do is to post from several separate accounts, which are not directly related to the brand. So we want to make it, seem as it's just real people mentioning the brand, to not be too, not make it too obvious that we are advertising here. Yeah, okay, cool. Does having LLM TXT make a significant difference? Honestly, as of now, we have it implemented. And as of now, I cannot really answer that question. It doesn't seem to get crawled a lot. And yeah, I would say use it because you can create it really quick. So the risk is really low. It may take you 5 minutes of your time. But as of now, I don't think you should promise yourself a lot from it. And when people find out you actually open that they don't Oracle. I am not afraid, no. I think you should just keep it in a natural manner, meaning you should not create a new account and then every comment you make is about your brand that you want to promote. You should diversify it a lot, and then I think you will be fine. Okay. All right, I can see the Reddit part is getting interest, but for now, let's continue with our game plan. Regarding, if you can jump to the next slide, about the question, okay, how did it turn out? So, as you can see here is a screenshot from Otterly AI. Obviously, this is the tool that we are using to track our visibility across LLMs. I can really recommend it, and we can track our prompts, and if we get mentioned in ChatGPT, in Perplexity, in AI overviews, and also in Microsoft Copilot. Okay, and as you can see here, this was in May. We got a brand coverage of 7%. What does that mean? That means that for our prompts that we are tracking, our brand gets mentioned 7% of the time, so 7% of our prompts. Obviously not too great. An overall share of voice of 2%, also not too thrilling. And if we skip on the next slide, Stefan, we can also see our number of citations, meaning, okay, how often do we get a link in LLMs as a reference? As you can see in May, we have been on the last place. And yeah, many of our competitors are ahead of us. So let's say there was room for improvement. Now, if we make a quick jump in time, 3 months later, on the next slide. So this is from August, not too long ago. As you can see, very cool. Our coverage jumped to over 50%, meaning that we now at least get mentioned in, let's say half of our prompts already. Our overall share of voice doubled in these 3 months. And on the next slide, if we compare our citations, you can see, wow, this time, obviously the overall number of citations improved for all sites, but especially in comparison to the competitors and who gets cited, we jumped to number one, which is also quite impressive, I think.
And also you see a big gap until the second one. So we made some real progress there.
Yep, very interesting development, definitely. Let's take or go into a bit more detail on the next slide.
There's another question, Hannes.
Mhm.
Let's check it out. Thomas asked, how would you prioritize on-page content work? Second, Reddit, and third, structured data. What's the most versus least important from your view?
Good question. Would say the way you have typed it already. Your on-page work, Reddit, and then structured data.
Mhm. And there's another question. Is there new evidence on LLM using schema markup for the answer? And how did you implement it on the page since ChatGPT isn't parsing JSON as far as I know?
Mm.
As far as
For
I
this,
know.
I know there are very contradictory opinions regarding the schema markups. Um, on my side, honestly, we just use it as a best practice and implement it always. I think it's also beneficial to your SEO and doesn't take too much time to create them. So I think there's no real reason not to include them.
Mhm.
Okay. So where was I? Yes, next slide, please. Exactly. So let's take a closer look, because what we have seen before was just like our overall mentions across the different models. And I think for some of you, it might be more interesting to see, okay, how did we improve, for example, specifically in ChatGPT? As you can see here, we have two charts. The left one is about the branch dimensions of our brand, and the right one is about the links or citations. Yeah, exactly. And across three different platforms: ChatGPT, AIO, which is AI overviews, and Perplexity. And as you can see, the development, I think, in 3 months is definitely interesting. Especially for ChatGPT and AI overviews, in May was very much close to zero, and improved a lot regarding to August. In Perplexity, it also improved a little bit. In my opinion, Perplexity is a bit closer linked to your usual Google ranking than the other two. So yeah, that's why I assume the improvement was maybe a bit slower. Although, and that's the cool thing, many of the things that we did also improved our regular SEO rankings, which we will take a look at shortly. Okay, on the right side, yeah, regarding the citations, pretty much the same thing. Obviously, the numbers are a bit different, but you can see the same direction of development. If we go to the next slide, to take a look at this in concrete numbers. You can see in ChatGPT, our market share in May was at a diminishing 0.07%. Now, at least it improved to, close to 4.4%. Still nothing too crazy, but I think regarding the 3-month time frame, very, very interesting. Similar to the links, I think you can zoom out here a bit, Stefan. It's pretty much the same thing before, just put it in concrete numbers. Also, AI overviews, I think very interesting since we had like 0 in May. So I think that's a good jump in there as well. Then also on the next slide, please. just our old school keyword rankings. As I said, most of the work was and still is done on the old school SEO side of things. As you can see here, this is just our keyword tracking from SEMrush from May to August. The yellow part is our top 3 rankings. The dark blue part is our top 10 rankings. As you can see, the distribution also developed really well over this time frame. And why I put this in here is to just mention again that your geo efforts and your SEO efforts are not contradictory. They're actually very complementary to each other. So many of the things that you do for one part will help you with the other. Okay. All right. Let's jump to the next slide regarding some easy takeaways that you can use today to improve your deal with the 80/20 rule. I assume in here that your regular SEO work is already in place. Otherwise, as I said before, I would really suggest you guys to focus on your SEO foundations first. But considering all of this is in place, for your content, implement more studies and statistics or reference some if you don't have one, or overall be more precise in what you are saying. We will go into this in the audit soon. Build UGC mentions, especially Reddit and Quora, seem to be interesting, as we have seen before. The schema markups, as I said, I know might be contradictory. I would say, hey, let's do it. Will not cost too much of your time. And then also log in, focus on a solid SEO strategy. Keep in mind geo best practices and don't get crazy over every new trend on LinkedIn. Okay. To come to a little conclusion. Next slide, please, Stefan. From all of this and also considering the current development of things, I've been saying a lot that SEO is very, very important still, but obviously geo and LLM optimization is important and will become even more important in the future. Still, yeah, I said before, ranking in traditional engines is the backbone of your geo efforts. I assume that this will also be the case for a couple more years, since also lately the integrated new live search in GPT-5, and meaning live search is pretty much searching Google and Bing. I think this will be true for some more years to come. But as I said, go for a very solid SEO strategy, include geo measures to be future-proof. And since I've seen there are many marketing managers, CMOs in the meeting as well, and you might be asking yourself, okay, how do we go about budgeting? My estimation would be to go for 70% SEO, 30% GEO, obviously depending on your current SEO performance. Okay. This was pretty much the small insights that I wanted to share with you guys. We have some more questions.
Yeah, should I read them? I can read them. So why did you choose AIO instead of Gemini?
Good question. Pretty much the tracking that we use from Otterly probably would make sense to also expand it to Gemini, yes. As of now, we have seen that most of the traffic from LLMs, or at least here in Germany, is ChatGPT and Perplexity. These are the important ones for us usually. But sure, probably would be useful to expand it to Gemini as well.
Then I saw in May you had 0% on AIO mentions, but 1% on AIO links. How do you get the LLMs to mention you, not just to link you?
Mhm. As I said, I think the solution was to optimize our content to make it more AI likely, improve our mentions, and maybe adding the schema markups as well.
Yeah. By the way, in a minute we come to the point where how you can optimize your content to AI or for LLMs. Yeah.
Yeah, you should
Okay.
go. I see one more question. Would posting in other forms other than Reddit and Quora also be relevant for geo? I am very convinced, so yes. We choose D2 because I think Reddit should be a must, more or less, since it's a training source for ChatGPT directly. But I think overall, obviously, if there's some forms which are very specific to your niche, um, go ahead to and focus on them as well.
Mhm. So Thomas,
Okay,
what do you think? Should we answer more questions or should we put that to the question and answer section?
Let's continue with the live audit, if you wouldn't mind, Stefan,
Yeah,
Hannes. I know we don't have unlimited time, and I think in the live audit you're also gonna talk a bit about the
perfect.
on-page content role, which is I think very interesting besides Reddit. But audience, please keep asking your questions. We'll come to this at the end.
Perfect. Then we move on with our quick audit.
all right.
Hannes, you
Um,
have to share, I think, right?
ah, yes, I have to share. Um, let me see. Okay, you should see the page of Bookify right now.
Yes.
Perfect. So a lot of people submitted their site for the audit. Obviously, we could only choose one, but for the rest, don't worry, we will also share our little checklist later on, so you can do some of that stuff that we will talk about now later on. Okay, so one of the sites we got was Bookify. Um, a SaaS business or application business with many different sub products like invoicing, AI assistance, etc., etc. Um, what I did now is I just picked three random URLs from product or service pages, and I also picked three URLs from the blog. They also have a very active blog, um, and put them into our own internal checklist. We just have a little workflow set up in here. We can put up URLs, and they will check to different criteria which we set up before. All of this stuff which you can find in here is pretty much based on the research that you can find out there as of today, and also some things that we personally think is just the best practice to do. So to maybe make things more easy, let's start with this one. You can see this is their landing page for Invoice app. I assume probably one of their most important pages where they present the app, the product. They have a very cool video, by the way. They took it very seriously, the part of you can invoice from everywhere. Somehow did this clip while diving. I like it. And yeah, have some FAQs in there, etc., etc. And as you can see, the first thing that we want to check product and service pages for is, do we have like product related statistics and data, meaning very concrete data, maybe ROI statistics, technical specifications, etc., etc. These things obviously will differ a lot from case to case. But just to give you an example about, okay, how can we make things more precise, more concrete? What I like to do is every time you make like a little marketing statement, try to be very precise. So you can do things like, I don't know, trusted everywhere by freelancers and businesses. Just an idea right now. Be more precise. Say trusted by more than 100,000, I don't know, small businesses. Create an invoice in under a minute. Is somewhat specific. Maybe go for something more like small businesses save an average of 8 hours, I don't know, for invoicing, um, using our application. Um, Something like this. You could also include, depending on your product, obviously, maybe more specifications about technical details. For Bookkeeper, maybe might be something like security, encryption features, uptime of the services, something like this, etc., etc. So I hope you get the idea what I mean by this, to try to be more specific in your statements. This is very similar to what we see when we look at blog content, where it's probably no surprise for most of you that Google and LLMs prefer content which has clear statistics and citations in there with concrete numbers. And this also kind of translates to landing pages or product service pages. Then also the EAT stuff. As you can see here, they have that done already. So this comes pretty much down to show that you have certifications, awards, partnerships, everything that demonstrates your authority and expertise. Comparison tables with data, LLMs really like these. This can also not be used on every page, but you can maybe make a comparison between your solution and competitors. On the AI contract page, I've seen on this page, an easy idea would be to make a comparison with, okay, what was the old school solution to get my contract crafted? So for example, okay, I had to hire a lawyer, whatever. And with our application, we can do it this fast, etc., etc. You could also give maybe some more concrete examples, meaning like craft an employee contract in 5 minutes. Yeah, something like this. Customer quotes and success stories, they seem to be missing on all pages. We have our overall ratings in here, which is cool. I still would also always recommend to put some more testimonials on there. It's great for building trust, and just a best practice to do this. Problem solution format. This one is more of our internal way to tackle things. What I mean by this is start with the problems that your customers face on your page and then offer them the solution. I think this will not be relevant for Geo or not, but it's kind of a best practice for your offer pages. The schema markups are present on the page. That is pretty cool. I can see optimize FAQ section. They have these also in place already. So they have, the FAQs in there. Legitimate questions. I think all of this is fine. FAQ markup seems to be missing. And you have media use, obviously. As we can see, there are a lot of pictures and other stuff. Okay, the last point in our checklist would be to avoid the JavaScript dependency. As you can see, this is not checked right here because our automated system it's not really good at detecting these things. So this would be something you should check manually maybe. But since this is a WordPress page, there's usually no issue with too much dependency on on the JavaScript side of things. Okay, I hope this gives you an idea, maybe the decision aids and selection criteria. This is something might need some explanation. What I mean by this is to make it really clear, okay, when is Bookify the right solution for me? Because what I think is important for the future and evermore is to be very specific with your targeting, and don't be too broad anymore, but make it very clear who your product is for. Because I think, well, this is also something we have seen lately, is that of course customers, if they're asking ChatGPT, etc., for their solution, they also ask very specific, maybe explain their situation very detailed, etc., etc. And I think if you really want to get your target customer, also be very, very specific on your page. Okay. For example, like I said, really pointing out who is Bookify for.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannes.
Okay. Yeah, and I see we get short on time, as it seems. Or was
Yeah, I think we can move on, I think, Hannes.
okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I'll be quiet.
Yeah, thank you for presenting us this. And for you, if it was a little bit too fast, you can download here our checklist. Do you see it right now? Yeah, perfect. Okay, then
Yes.
you can make use your phone with the QR code to download the list. I give you a second. Three, two, one. Who's not ready? Okay, so I can put it on as well again. And now we want to come to the discussion. So you see, AI is not doing everything. So I uploaded a photo of us, and ChatGPT made this out of us. Yeah, so here we come to the discussion. And yeah, I want to ask you right now, what is going on in your mind right now? And we also answer the questions from the chat. Yeah. And I put in the QR code again. But yeah, we go on with the discussion now. So you can unmute yourself,
There's
but
there
as
seemed to
well.
be
Hmm?
there seemed to be a problem with the link.
Does not work.
I mean, maybe we can check.
One.
We're gonna send out the checklist anyhow afterwards. So if the link is not working, I see it's working for others. We're gonna send out the checklist anyway afterwards via email as well. But if it's not working for you, ping us also afterwards, please. Maybe we can look at some open questions that were still in the chat, Stefan, Hannes. And thanks again for showing us your on-page, on-content audit. I think that's very interesting. And maybe if I already start with one question that I think Carolina had in the chat around content, really. The first
Mhm.
question I think that Carolina had, which I think you answered, but maybe not fully, is FAQs. How relevant are they really? Is that something we need these days on every landing page, on every blog post? Do we now have to go through updating all of our content to include those FAQs? What's your take on this?
Yeah. I really like FAQs, as you have seen there in our checklist included as well, and especially since you're writing this. Okay. Andrew answered this pretty good actually. FAQs give you a very great opportunity to yeah, just put your natural questions also in there, which how somebody would type it into an LLM exactly like this. And also you can give obviously more information for your customers. They just give you a lot of room to make your page informationally more interesting, but also more interesting regarding the old school SEO semantic optimization, and also regarding just putting these questions in there. And as I said before, being more specific with your offer.
Yeah.
So I would say yes.
And I want to
Use
give
them.
and I want to give another old school perspective. Think of the readers of your pages. Who of you, look at yourself. How often do you read when you are interested in a product, the FAQs? So I do that a lot. Yeah, and this is also a point. It's customer friendly to add FAQs.
Amazing. I think there was one another question from Florin around your TRYSEO case. Hannes, you showed us TRYSEO as a mid-sized B2B brand company
Mhm.
competing with other also global players. Florin was interested to know how many prompts did you track for a company like TRYSEO? And maybe more broadly speaking, how do you think about the
Yeah,
prompt-based approach and tracking different prompts, different topics for a website like TRYSEO?
yeah. Um, I think we're tracking around 30. Mm, don't get too fixated on this. But I think I get where the question is coming from, because we all will face the problem that you can formulate the same question in a million different ways. Um, so, and I think nobody of us wants to buy 1,000 Otterly AI memberships to track all possible questions. So at some point we have to make a decision and think about, okay, what do we track and what not? And how we approach it currently is to assume, okay, if a keyword, a classic old school keyword has a lot of search volume, we will just assume that this keyword, which we should now better call a topic, that this topic will also have a lot of interest in LLMs. Um, and then we just go for, yeah, the formulation of the question, which seems to be the most natural, but also think about, as I said before, being very precise. Um, so don't only focus on general questions like, I don't know, who offers the best virtual phone numbers. This is a very broad term, might be cool to track. But if, for example, you are targeting, I don't know, only enterprise clients, which only need phone numbers in, what do I know, in Switzerland, then it might be better to focus on, okay, who would be the best provider for enterprise that we need phone numbers in Switzerland? You get the idea. Um, I think you should focus on the specific prompts which are really targeted to your customer. Um, and also consider just the old school keywords to get an idea, okay, where might be a lot of interest in. If that answers the question.
I think it does, and I think there was one follow-on question right now around where to find trusted sources, what people are asking in the first place, right? So how would you answer that this question from Andrew? Do you use different sources, different tools to find prompts? And maybe as a disclaimer, there are also prompts in the Google Search Console, right? From Google, right? People using Google these days, or AI mode even, or Gemini, right? Do you use that, Hannes, for example? Prompts coming from the
Mhm.
Google Search Console?
Of course, you can use these. You can also use old school long tail keywords. This data has been around for years. They will give you a good idea. Um, Lately, there was also a leak from the share folder from ChatGPT. If some of you guys want to fizzle with that, you can take a look into this. Um, but yeah, I think it really comes down to understanding your customer, and it also helps. This is something we do currently. It's very old school, but just ask your customer, hey, how did you find us? And what were you looking for? Um, Very easy approach, gives you a great idea. And that also teaches us that people are searching very specific.
Amazing. I love it
Ans
what you just mentioned because just wanted to reiterate on that, right? Customer research is, I think, key, right? And I also posted a link in the chat on 17 different ways on how you can find prompts. And I think customer research should be a top priority for all of us as marketers, right? As we as we basically can also survey and ask our leads, our customers directly, what topics they care about, what questions they have. So just wanted to
Mhm.
reiterate what you just said because I think it's really important.
Yeah, exactly. And I also would not get too crazy about, I mean, in the same prompt, if you switch up two words, I wouldn't get too crazy about, okay, which one of these will I track because the results will be very, very similar. So focus more on topics, I think. Caroline, I've seen you answer the public is pretty good. Yes, it's a cool tool. Can give you cool ideas. I definitely can take a look into that.
Have you seen higher conversion rates, Stefan, Hannes, for Tenios from people coming from ChatGPT, or did people stick around longer on the website or less long? Do you want to comment? Can you comment on this?
Um, well, I can say that the traffic that comes from them, even though it's not a lot, obviously, um, is of good quality. This is what we can see. Um, but yeah, it is in comparison to Google, it's a very, very small part. Um, but what I also want to mention here is probably lots of you can relate with this as well. It's not as easy to um, assign the traffic to LLMs clearly because, of course, you can track your referral sessions which come from ChatGPT or whatever, and align them very, very easily. Um, but there are also cases in which people, I don't know, get the recommendation from ChatGPT, and then they go to Google your brand first, make some research, maybe visit then your page, then it will be assigned to organic, or maybe some people will also just go to the page directly and type it in, then it will be direct. So it's a bit tricky to to really measure this precisely.
Yeah, and
Um,
we can refer to our own case at TRYSEO. The last three sales calls we had, we were recommended by ChatGPT.
And
yes,
you
which
found
by
you
the way
found you
didn't
found that out by asking your clients, right?
Right.
Not
We
through
asked
Google.
them,
we
how do you
found.
find us? And they said, yeah, I searched on ChatGPT and it recommended us.
Nice. Cool.
And by the way, none of them showed up as a conversion from referral traffic in Google Analytics. So they must have done some other way before coming to us. But yeah,
Did
that's
you
why I
ask
said
them for
maybe
did you ask them for the prompt? Adnan had that in the chat.
yes, yes. I mean they couldn't remember 100%, but one of them actually gave us a very good idea, and that's why I said before we see this a lot today. People are really looking very specific. Put it
We
that way,
we
and yeah.
we are wrapping this up shortly. Maybe we have time for one or two more quick questions. Um, there was one last question from Carolina around what would you say is a nice tool mix for tracking, reporting, everything? Is it SEMrush, Google Search Console, Otterly? What's in your tool stack?
All of these and Google Looker's Studio. Um, but I get you the reporting currently. Yeah, it's a bit of a hassle because on one side you have the SEMrush Search Console. All of this integrates very nicely for the old school reporting. Um, right now, our AI reporting with Otterly is a bit separated. Um, but as I know, they're currently working on making our life a bit more easier on this side, and you can also export your data from Otterly via CSV, or I think also Excel, um, and then load this into Looker Studio, for example. But this is pretty much our tool stack, which you uh, quoted there. Um,
Amazing. I think we call it a session, call it a day. I want to thank you, Hannes and Stefan, for joining us today for the last 60 minutes to show us your Tenios case. And I think it was very interesting to see how a lot can be achieved with Reddit on-page content and schema markups. Where do people find you on the internet, Hannes, Stefan? where should people connect with you?
This is our last slide. I answered that question, but as well, we have another gift for you. So you can do a GEO readiness test. I will give you the QR code in a minute. If you want to reach us, you can go on to TRYSEO, of course. It's like it's that site, try like try and SEO.de, and then you can switch to the English version, and you can book a call, of course, with us, or you can get with us. You can write us on at Steffen@TRYSEO, Hannes@TRYSEO, info@TRYSEO. So there are several ways to get in
Whatever you
contact
want.
with us. Sorry?
Whatever you want. Just put
Whatever
any
you
name
want.
in front.
And we are also on LinkedIn. So if you do a LinkedIn search with our names, you will find us, and we are happy to connect, of course. Yeah.
Amazing.
So and I switch back to if you want to do a GEO readiness test, here's your chance. It's like 4 minute, 24 questions, and you get an analysis via email about your GEO setup.
Super cool. Thanks so much for all the giveaways and freebies, Stefan, Hannes. We're gonna include them in the follow-up email as well. And yeah, once again, thank you for joining us today. Hope everybody has a good evening, good lunchtime, morning, afternoon, where everybody's calling in from. Hope to see you soon in one of our next live sessions. Watch out for that as well. With that said, thanks, Stefan. Thanks, Hannes. Have a good one, everybody.
And
Thank you,
thank you for
guys.
the questions. It was really great.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.